assigned by the state have been following me wherever I go in the Republic, including my homes, to listen to what I say and twist it. I told the people of Madeira, they asked me a question. Mr. Gachagua, you bought a farm here and you have started building a house. What happened? Now that you are going to be deputy president, are you still going to live here? I told them I stopped building the house because the state froze my accounts to intimidate me and to blackmail me to support the handshake. And that money is frozen. And I cannot use it. That is why the construction of a house stopped in this area. When the due process takes place and the courts will deliver justice to Rigathi Gachagua one day and my accounts are frozen, I assured the people of that area that I'll come and complete that house and live with them. And I'll take time to allow them to come and visit me. They asked me a secondary question. As deputy president, will you allow us to come and sit with you? I said, yes. I'm a junior elder in this community. I'll have time to sit with my fellow men over food, over a drink, and we share in the African way. I say the women in this area will come and sit with Mama Gachagua and have kesha, because my wife is a pastor and she likes doing kesha. And the women wanted to know, will they be allowed to come to the home of the deputy president to have kesha with Mrs. Gachagua? I confirmed yes. I'll be deputy president, but I'm still the same old guy who hangs around here. And a very generous person who spends all his time with the people.
All right, Mr. Gachagua, you have a national audience. What is the source of the money that was frozen? Because that is the context.
Pardon?
What is the source of this money that was frozen?
I have said many times that I'm a victim of blackmail by President Uhuru Kenyatta, whom I served as personal assistant. President Uhuru Kenyatta wanted me to abandon William Ruto and join him in fighting him, and I said no, because he didn't give me a good reason. And he blackmailed me. He sent Nancy Gitawe, his advisor, to threaten me that if I don't abandon William Ruto and join him, I'll face the music from the state. And one problem started after another. They froze my accounts, KRI froze all my companies, then they arrested me on trumped-up charges for 1.5 years, no evidence in court, nothing. I'm a victim of blackmail and persecution by Uhuru Kenyatta using the state criminal justice system to manage politics and deal with those who don't agree with him.
Honorable Gachagua, with all due respect, you have not answered my question. What is the source of the money that was...
The money that I have is well documented. I am an astute businessman. This is money that I made during the reign of Mwai Kibaki when the economy was thriving. I made over 200 million and invested in an account. And that account has been running for the last 8 years, and nobody has ever asked me a question. In 2013, when I supported Uhuru Kenyatta, I still had the money. In 2017, when I supported him, I still had the money in my personal account. This is money I have accounted for. It's clean money. I am a good businessman. And in the fullness of time, I'll be vindicated.
Karua?
I was really hoping that my colleague would explain to us how an individual finds 5 billion shillings in their accounts. But I hope one day Kenyans will be able to know money that was transferred to his accounts in the last 10 years of the Jubilee administration. But that's for him to account. I believe as leaders, we have to be accountable. That is why there is declaration of wealth, so that as you enter office, people can know how much you are worth, and as you exit, or in the middle, they can monitor and see how you are progressing, whether it is from your salary, and if it's from business, it has to be a business that can be ascertained. I think we really need to come clean, because if you cannot account for your wealth, you cannot be a good steward of the money of the people of Kenya.
So this is a question to both of you. You've brought up the subject of wealth declaration. Yeah. What are you worth, Honorable Karua?
I think about just about 150 million, and that is because the 56 million I had declared in 2013 has appreciated because of the inflation. I haven't had any new properties, but I'm a person many may not understand. I'm not thirsty for land. I'm not thirsty for worldly goods. I'm happy to have a house I call home. I'm happy to have a house in my father's land. I do not look for property. Not everybody is hungry to amass, hungry to do something to help my country, to transform the lives of the people.
Right.
So if you're looking for Martha Karua to be a billionaire, no, I am not hungry for billions.
Honorable Gachagua,
My
how much
account
are you
did
worth?
not receive 5 billion. That is propaganda. I have 200 million. That is the money that is held. 200 million, 64 million. I worked in the Ministry of Lands and Settlement. 10 million, I worked in Kenya Power. 33 million, I worked. Another 46 million, I worked in another organization called Patek. Up to 200 million, that is all the money. But when you set policemen to investigate, they don't understand accounts. When you save money in a fixed deposit, it leaves your personal account into a suspense account. A normal policeman looking at it, movement in and out 4 times a year of 200 million, he thinks you have 800 million within that year. So when he multiplies by 7 years, he says you have 12.4 billion. That is the folly of the kind of investigations we are having in this country. I don't have billions. I have 203 million into that account. And that is part of my wealth. I'm worth 800 million minus the 200 they are holding, another 600.
So just a quick follow-up on that, Honorable Rigathi, because the charges you are facing are as a result of trading with county governments. What's your position on public officers doing business with government, whether at the national level or at the county level?
By the time I've done all my businesses, I was not a public servant. I was a private individual. I have no conflict of interest. I was a businessman. I applied for tenders and competed, open tenders and won, and did construction business and did supplies, and nobody is complaining. Today, those charges against me, no evidence in court, nobody is willing to record a statement. Clean business. And I never traded with institutions because I was not part of any government.
But this is when your
business
brother...
I did in 2011, I did in 2012. You know, when they say that my brother was governor, my brother became governor in 2013. I did business in 2008, in 2009, in 2010, 2011. And that money is there, and it's all documented where it has come from. But nobody is bothered because they just wanted to punish me. But they wanted to blackmail me into supporting the handshake. And I'm a man of principle, and Uhuru Kenyatta knows that. I respect my conscience. I will never be intimidated. And I can tell you, many governors today supporting Azimio is because they were blackmailed like me, and they gave in.
Honorable Gachagua, just clarity. In 2009, 2010, there was no county governments. Which government did you do?
Sorry?
There was no county government in 2009.
I'm saying I made money in 2010, in 2009. There was no county government. I didn't make money with the county government. I never did business with the county government. I said I worked with the Ministry of Lands. I worked with the Ministry of Livestock Development. So you cannot say that there was conflict in Nyeri because I did this business long before county governments came into place.
But Honorable Gachagua, the matter in court is about doing business with county governments.
I'm saying the matter in court is a matter that is on fabricated charges. And that matter will be coming in the fullness of time. What I'm talking about is the money that is held and where it came from. As to the allegations as the matter before court, there is nothing. It's absolute lies. There is nothing. And in the fullness of time, and that is why, even after sending 200 policemen to arrest me in Nyeri and drag me naked in front of my wife, in front of my workers, drive me to Nairobi, lock me for 4 days, 1.5 years later, not a shred of evidence, nothing. That is why the case has not taken off. They have slated it for September later this year. But still, nothing has been presented to us. Our lawyers have been asking, give us evidence against Rigathi Gachagua. It's not forthcoming. It does not exist. It's a fabrication. It's blackmail. It was a way of trying to force me to abandon William Ruto. Okay. But I was not intimidated. I remain on board.
Okay, Honorable Karua, you have 2 minutes.
An Azimio government will have a policy position that graft cases and all serious crime should be investigated and prosecuted within a given time, within 6 months, to be specific, so that people like my colleague here, Mr. Gachagua, anybody charged with crime against the people, within 6 months, we ought to know whether they are guilty or not, so that people don't seek public office when having baggage of cases. And if I may remind Mr. Gachagua, the cases, because I've been following the newspaper reports, relate to Kwale County, Bungoma County, and Nyeri County. And the period when the offenses are said to have been committed is between 2013 and 2020. So it is important, even from a personal position, that a person gets cleared and that you do not instruct advocates to delay the cases, because what we are having in our courts is really a circus, where one is charged, you are holding public office, you continue holding public office, elections come, and now we have seen new language in the courts that to allow them to campaign, the case is further delayed. Kenyans need to know, and even the person accused needs to know, so that they do not give excuses. We have repeatedly said with my captain that whether it's my daughter, my blood relative, or a member of the opposing camp, the law must apply equally to all. And everybody must have a swift chance to clear their name in court or for the court to declare them guilty. We are here to help Kenya organize itself in that manner by engaging with the players in the justice system and having a policy position.
All right, Honorable Gachagua, you have a minute to respond. For clarity, have you done business with county governments?
Allegations remain just allegations. Honorable Mother knows, and I'll never take her on allegations. A British newspaper accused her of receiving a bribe from BAT, but I cannot come here and accuse her that she's corrupt because of that allegation. Because an allegation is an allegation. The people of Kirinyaga have been complaining that she used her office as justice minister to take land in South Gariama and give it to her relatives. But that is just an allegation. The issue here, Sophia,
we would like,
the issue here, Sophia, is that we need to allow.
Would like to remind the members of our audience to please do not cheer or jeer and allow our candidates to present their issues. Please go ahead.
The issue here is that we need to allow independent institutions to fight corruption. President Uhuru Kenyatta has cried inability to fight corruption because he was lenient. He was lenient because the people involved in mega corruption are close to him, both in family and friends. That is why he was lenient. But had he allowed independent institutions to fight corruption, the issue of leniency would not arise. Had he allowed independent institutions to fight corruption without getting involved, Rigathi Gachagua would not be in court, because independent institutions will never take people to court without evidence. What the Honorable Karua is saying, that we need a law to hasten cases, is not the solution.
Honorable
the
Gachagua,
solution is to take cases to court when you have evidence.
Matakara, you have a minute to rebut.
I just want to let Mr. Gachagua know that I do not have an iota of public land anywhere, in Kirinyaga or anywhere. I do not own land in South Gariama. I am glad he knows they're just allegations. And I challenged the current administration that is there, and I'm not in power in Kirinyaga, that if there is truth to that allegation, then they must swiftly take me to court and recover. So once you challenge those making the allegation and they don't do anything about it, then the matter is closed. The only land I own in Kenya is the house I live in Nairobi, and the house up-country, which is on my father's land, and he has included my name in the title. I said I'm not land hungry, and I'm not hungry for material wealth. Those who are hungry may never understand that. Relating to BAT, it was money paid to my campaign secretariat by a donor, not paid to my personal account. Later, it transpired that it was money from a company. The matter has been investigated in UK, and the file has been closed. I also challenged the DPP of the government Gachagua's principal serve in 2016 to investigate and prosecute me
All right,
So those matters
your time is
are
up.
allegations.
Thank you very much. Time is up. But now that we're talking about funds, you all are traversing the country with choppers and legions of teams. How do you finance your campaign, Honorable Gachagua? How much does it cost?
Pardon?
How much does it cost to finance your campaign?
Pardon?
How much does it cost to finance your campaign?
Oh, the sound is not working here.
Sorry.
I can't hear you properly.
Apologies for that.
Yeah.
How much does it cost to finance your campaign?
Well, it's difficult because we don't have a centralized command. Our campaign, we are raising funds from people, and mostly is in materials, is in donations in terms of choppers, in terms of vehicles, in terms of fuel, in terms of personnel. And really, what you need in terms of cash is not much. This campaign of Kenya Kwanza is bottom-up driven. A lot of hustlers have taken time to give their all in terms of time, in terms of materials, in terms of support in kind. There isn't much about cash. So it's very difficult at this stage to quantify and say, this is the amount that we are going to use for this campaign. What I know is that in the next 1 week or so, we'll now be talking about real figures because we have to mobilize agents, we have to mobilize vehicles, we have to get people to protect the vote. Those people need to be given allowances. That is when now we will come to the cost of the real campaign.
All right, Martha Karua, the same question. How do you finance your campaign?
Through public donations in cash and kind. We had a fundraiser just the other Friday, but the donations are a continuous process. The Azimio campaign secretariat is keeping tab. My personal campaign organization, the New Dawn Trust, is also keeping tab of all donations coming to me. And it is the organization that had received the money you asked earlier for BAT. I do not mix campaign money with my own funds because you have to maintain integrity even with donations. We have choppers donated. There is a chopper I personally use, which is a donation from a kind corporate friend. And we have many such donations. And I want to remind Kenyans, my captain, the Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, has had choppers in his campaign even when he was out of government. Like the 2007, I think they flashed more choppers than the PNU side I was in that could have. He is a man known for his capability to mobilize resources, both human and financial, for campaign. And I'm very lucky to be his running mate.
Talk to us, Honorable Gachagua, about corruption and election campaigns financing. A lot of opaqueness there, clearly, even from this engagement, and laws around politicians being accountable and there being an eye inside what's going on have not seen day of light. So what are your thoughts? Is there any nexus there?
Well, you know, campaigns, and you really cannot control the nations because people support a certain candidate for a certain reason. And it behoves upon the candidate to receive donations that are well-meaning and donations that are not tied to your win and what you need to do for people after. And that is the basis of our campaign. I personally have many friends who are supporting me. They have not demanded anything for me in return when we form government. They think we have got a good plan. They think that we need to be given an opportunity to run this country and turn it around. They think that the real thing is the economy. They think that they need to help us to move around the country. And they are well-meaning. I wouldn't say the same of my colleague here because their campaign is being run with the public resources. You are aware that the PS Interior has been meeting chiefs and assistant chiefs who are public servants and give them instructions to work for Azimio. You have seen their meetings being attended by chiefs in uniform. That is misuse of public resources. We have seen funds from Harambee House, from the confidential expenditure, being put into this campaign. Many of the town hall meetings they are holding in the Mount Kenya region, all the delegates are given 1,000 shillings to go home, and that is money from public coffers.
Do you have evidence of this?
Oh yes, we have photographs, we have recordings, we have audios, they are there. We are always well appraised because many of those people who go to receive that money are actually our supporters. And they say they don't want to allow the elephant to die with the tusks. They need to remove the tusks before it is dead. That is what is happening. And public servants, the Cabinet Secretary for Interior is on record campaigning for Azimio. The Cabinet Secretary for ICT is on record campaigning for Azimio. These are public officials. They are public, they are paid with public money, but they are campaigning. That is misuse of public resources. And my colleague here, who says he's a stickler of the rule of law, has not condemned that, because I would want her to condemn that, because she says she's a stickler of the rule of law. And if she finds public resources are being used to propel her to office, she should be bold enough to say that is wrong. She should speak out against the misuse of chiefs and assistant chiefs by the PS Interior to campaign for her and her boss.
Okay, Honorable Karua, just to build on that, all corruption scandals, Eurobond, Kimarer, Afia House, Kemsa, do find a dotted line into politics. As you respond to this question, how does Azimio and yourself going to deal with these questions that we have to deal with now?
May I begin there by saying that Azimio government is very clear on what it will do. Both my captain and I have repeatedly said there will be no sacred cows. Anybody involved in corruption will face the law, irrespective of who they are. As for campaigning with public resources, that's a fabrication. What I know is that every presidential candidate is entitled to security. So there will be security apparatus, whether it is the Deputy President's campaign or the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. We mobilize our own meetings, using our candidates, using everybody. Anybody who attends, they attend on their own volition. Yes, there are some cabinet secretaries who have attended our meetings, but they have sometimes attended as a by the way. When they attend deliberately, it's of their own volition, and it's not because we need them to mobilize. Let nobody forget that there is no political operator who can mobilize more than the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. I also personally do not need help to mobilize. I've been in this game for 30 years. When Mr. Gachagua was still a DO, I was in politics.
All right. You have a response to that? 1 minute rebuttal?
Well, I have no rejoinder for that. My request is that it is about time we move to the real issues, that the people of this country need to know what is our plan. We have talked many issues, and that is a good thing. But the people of Kenya need to know, what does Rigathi Gachagua and William Ruto have for them? I'm hoping that debate will come around tonight, because it's important. Because many Kenyans are glued to the screens. They are waiting to hear. They want to know about health. They want to know about education. The public service wants to know about their issues. The police service wants to know about their issues. There are many people waiting. And I think, I am guessing, they must be getting information.
Honorable Gachagua, we are getting to that. And corruption is a big issue in this country, where public resources...
Corruption must be fought. And the real corruption is state capture and conflict of interest.
What is state capture?
State capture is where the people in power compete with citizens for scarce resources, where the people in power use their position to advantage themselves to get business unfairly, where people in power allocate resources to projects where they have an interest. I have an example. In the year 20, I want to tell you what is state capture and conflict of interest. This is Gazette Notice Legal number 1112, dated 26th June 2019. In the exercise of powers conferred by Section 106 of the Stamp Duty Act, the Cabinet Secretary of the National Treasury and Planning, on the recommendation of the Cabinet Secretary for Lands and Physical Planning, directs that the instruments executed in respect of the transactions relating to the merger of NIC, PLC, and Commercial Bank of Africa shall be exempt from the provisions of the Act. By a single signature, these two companies owned by the first family were exempted from paying 350 million. These are rich banks who have made money from domestic borrowing. They have lent money to government. They are in Fuliza. the owners are the richest people in Kenya. They were exempted from paying 350 million, money that can put up 35 level 3 hospitals in Kenya. That is conflict of interest and state capture. That is chronic corruption. It's worse than the corruption associated with public procurement. And that is what we must deal with.
Okay.
We must deal with state capture. We must deal with conflict of interest. There is a railway line between Nairobi and Nyanyuki that was put up at a cost of 3.8 billion. That railway line serves one company that supplies fuel to Nyanyuki.
All right, Honorable Gachagua, thank you very much for this. Unfortunately, I cannot authenticate this document.
You asked me what the state capture.
I'm giving you time, but I cannot authenticate the document that you've just read right now. So I've seen in your manifesto that you would put a commission to investigate these crimes. Would you go after the first family?
We will not go after anybody. We'll go after all those who are in state capture and conflict of interest.
Who are they?
But what are you saying?
That will come out in the commission. I'm saying there will be a commission because the real corruption that we need to deal with, not what Honorable Mother is talking about, is state capture and conflict of interest, where the people in power have used their offices to usurp public resources to their advantage and to the disadvantage of the rest of Kenyans. You are aware that the milk industry has been monopolized by state capture and conflict of interest, where the owners of that monopoly decide how much to buy from the farmers and how much to sell to the consumers.
So, Honorable.
And extort the people of Kenya.
Clarity for the Kenyans who are watching. At the center of government is President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Yes.
Are you going to go after President Uhuru Kenyatta finishes his term?
I have said we are not talking about individuals. We'll deal with state capture and conflict of interest. Anybody who is involved in state capture and conflict of interest will be held to account.
The first family, sir. So grab the bull by its horns. Don't perhaps cut around the issue. You are talking about the first family. So in essence, you are saying you will go after them. Isn't that?
I am saying this is state capture. I've given you an example. You will feel for yourself what needs to happen.
All right.
And I am saying that is what we need to deal with. You know, state capture. And that is why the president will say he is lenient. He cannot deal with state capture. He cannot deal with conflicts of interest.
Okay.
He can't.
Thank you very much.
I want to help Mr. Gachagua. State capture is the repurposing of the state to serve individuals rather than public good. And corruption cartels in this country, whoever they are, have strangled the country. I opened by saying Kenya can't breathe. Our health services, their money is taken. The money for agriculture, for fertilizer subsidies, money for building dams such as Kimwerel, Arol, Galana Kularu, which was supposed to help Kenya feed itself. That is what state capture is about, that every penny intended for the public, a majority of it is ending up in people's pockets. This is not about families or individuals. It's cartels, and cartels are organized people, gangs of criminals, because what they are doing is committing crime. And you don't need a commission to punish crime. You just need serious law enforcement. And if you find roadblocks, that cases are taking too long, then Parliament can be used to do its work, to consider proposals from the government, to pass laws that fast-track such cases. We all know that election petition cases take 6 months. Why can't corruption cases similarly take such a period? That is the debate that must go to the National Assembly. Mr. Gachagua serves in the National Assembly. I have not heard him talk about corruption except when defending his own position in the case he's involved in. In contrast, I'm out of Parliament. I've been vocal, whether it's KEMSA, whether it's any other corruption. And I've also been vocal in upholding the rule of law and reminded my brother, President Kenyatta, that he cannot serve beyond his term, a position he holds at this moment, that he is going home.
So, Honorable Karua, do you agree then that there's state capture in Kenya? And secondly, what do you make of their proposal to form a commission of inquiry into the same in Kenya if elected?
That just expresses their reluctance to fight corruption. In fact, Mr. Gachagua's principle is captured on tape in an interview in this country, saying that corruption, he doesn't think corruption can stop a nation from developing. With what money will a nation develop, invest, or even provide services if the corruption cartels are taking 2 billion shillings a day, which translates to stealing 40 shillings for their children and without free education, because corruption cartels are strangling the nation. That's why we can't breathe. Once we understand that, then we will vote for people with a track record, like Azimio, people with the will to fight corruption, people who are prepared to confront the monster and to apply the law evenly, irrespective of who is mentioned.
So do you believe we have state capture in Kenya?
There is state capture, yes, by corruption cartels, organized criminal gangs who plunder our resources daily. 2 billion shillings a day, which is authenticated by the Auditor General, translates to 765 billion shillings. The amount of money we need for the social support is just 144 billion. The rest can be used to pay debt, to do other things. We intend to seal all those loopholes so that Kenyans can have advantage of their resources.
Honorable Karua, the names of every corruption scandal, Kimwarer, Kamsa, Eurobond, they're all government officials.
Yes.
How do you deal with that?
That is where the state capture is coming. If you look at them, it's not about families, it's about individuals who choose. Because I keep saying, no mother has baptized their children the name corruption. It's a behavior an individual deliberately chooses. And state capture can even become a tool during elections where empty promises are given to entice Kenyans to further surrender their sovereignty to corruption cartels. I'm urging Kenyans to look at the track record of each of the formations that are seeking the presidency of this country. I am confident that a reasonable look at the candidates present, as Kenyans will commend themselves to vote for Azimio. And Azimio will do the jobs, not because we are perfect, but because we have the best track record and we do try and have tried before and done good work for Kenyans.
All right, Honorable Gachagua, you have 2 minutes.
I don't know. I don't know whether the Honorable Mother has taken time in their meetings with the chairman of Azimio to ask him. He said he's in charge of this country. He knows everything that goes on. Then he went ahead to say that 2 billion shillings is stolen daily. I don't know whether in her meetings with the chairman of Azimio, she has tried to find out from him who steals this 2 billion and why he has done nothing about it. In terms of fighting corruption, our manifesto is very clear. Our plan is sound and is in accordance with the Constitution. Our plan is to allow independent institutions that fight corruption to be really and truly independent by giving them that freedom and giving them resources and financial autonomy so that they receive instructions from nobody. On assuming government, we shall appoint the Inspector General of Police as the accounting officer of the National Police Service so that himself and the DCI have independence to do what they need to do on fighting crime and corruption without having to take instructions from anybody. Because you know, it is said, he who pays a piper calls the tune. Why the Inspector General of Police and the DCI cannot fight corruption and crime, why they cannot operate the way the Constitution spells out, is because they are controlled from Harambee House, because that is where their money is. We shall give them financial autonomy. We shall operationalize the judiciary fund to allow our judges and magistrates to operate with financial autonomy so that they are free to do what they want to do, so that they can fast-track cases without having to look back. And of course, you know, President William Ruto, the new president of Kenya, God willing, we appoint the judges that were nominated by the Judicial Service Commission so that they can serve the people of Kenya.
All right, Honorable Karua, do you agree that lack of independence in these institutions is the problem Kenyans are facing in the criminal justice system?
The Constitution gives all these institutions independence. And independence and autonomy should not be confused with accountability. Parliament, which is independent, has to be accountable to the people of Kenya. The executive has to be accountable to the people of Kenya. The judiciary has to be accountable to the people of Kenya. Institutions have decisional independence, that a judge will be independent in making that decision of guilty or not guilty, that the Director of Public Prosecutions will be independent in deciding to charge, to prosecute or not to prosecute. It doesn't mean that they fail to account to the people of Kenya. And that is most of our leaders are failing to do, be accountable to the people of Kenya. You go to office to do your own business, where you will find that quite a number of people who are parliamentarians are trading with the counties, are trading with the government. So who is the watchdog of the people? The law forbids it. Conflict of interest. Going to get county work from a county government when you are a member of parliament. Who is going to be the watchdog?
A quick follow-up on that.
Yeah.
Because the proposal on the table in Azimio is that if you are elected into office, then you'd also double up as Minister for Justice. Yeah. Wouldn't that go then to entrench that kind of feeling of interference from the executive? Because these are independent institutions, yes, but even if it's facilitating and good workflow, there's the NCAJ that handles all of the issues around that chain of criminal justice. So wouldn't that role, in essence, be seen as interference as well?
Not at all. The Minister of Justice doesn't prosecute. This is a coordinating ministry, coordinating the entire justice sector. And we had such a program even during the Kibaki time known as Justice Law and Order Sector, to give policy direction. Then each institution goes and works on its own. It's not about how that institution will do its work. It's to understand together the difficulties, the roadblocks along the justice sector, so as to make proposals for legislation and for policy to Parliament. Remember that policy and legislation are passed by Parliament. Government institutions are independent, but they cannot act alone. There must be some synergy, and that synergy is in policy. Then they can have decisional independence. I've been a Minister of Justice before. I didn't investigate or prosecute.
All right, I want to move to the next topic, and let's go to the cost of living. One of the charges against politicians in this country is that they're simply out of touch and you're unable to solve the problems that we face. I'll give you an opportunity tonight, Honorable Gachagua, to start to make your presentation on cost of living by first telling us, what is the cost of milk today?
The cost of milk,
Retail.
The farmer sells at 42. At the supermarket, some places 120 per liter, others is 130, depending on where the supermarket is.
Kerosene?
I don't go to the supermarkets.
Okay. What is your presentation tonight on dealing with the cost of living, knowing very well that...
I want to say, I'm happy now we are where we need to be.
Audience, please maintain silence. And for the record, issues with what we've been talking about throughout, these issues impact on how we fund the projects and all of these other subsidies we'll be talking about. So there's no non-issue tonight.
What I'm saying is that I'm happy that we are discussing the high cost of living, the inability of Kenyans to buy food, because a mistake was made maliciously to deny farmers fertilizer subsidy, and as a result, there was low production, and because of the law of demand and supply, you cannot afford a packet of unga. A packet of unga is 250 shillings. Government is running around because of this election now, trying to subsidize for 4 weeks, just after the elections. But they are not telling the people of Kenya how they'll buy food after the elections. This is being done to entice them to vote for Azimio. If government had done the right thing and supplemented farmers with inputs and fertilizer they would have increased their production. You know, we consume 46 million bags of maize, and we produce about 40 million every year. We normally have a deficit of about 6, which we import. But because of this decision, we are short of almost 15 million bags, and that is what has caused the current crisis. And we have a plan. On our first month in office, we intend to bring down the cost of fertilizer from 6,700 to 2,500. That is DAP. That is the main fertilizer for planting.
Okay.
And that will enhance our farmers to produce more so that we have food security, and probably we even have some surplus for export.
Thank you. Honorable Martha, same question. What is the price of bread today, and what is your plan to reduce the cost of living?
The price of bread, the bread I buy, is 80 shillings. But there are various types of loaves, so I will not pretend to know what each loaf is costing. But I know that the price of foodstuffs, of essential commodities, has gone up, and the fuel prices are generally the trigger that gets them high, coupled with corruption. My friend, Mr. Gachagua, is talking of giving their government giving fertilizer subsidies. He is in Jubilee and therefore part of Jubilee government. He is in parliament courtesy of Jubilee, but he doesn't know that currently the Jubilee government has a fertilizer subsidy and a bag is retailing at 2,900. The only problem is with the distribution, because the cartels are making sure that they buy most of it. Only a paltry gets to the farmers. It's again sold at the higher price. For us, the first, second, and third agenda is to fight corruption. Governments have subsidies to cushion farmers and to cushion the people because of a series of things. We have war in Ukraine, which has seen foodstuffs rise for countries that are not self-sufficient and buy outside, Kenya being one of them, fertilizer and other things. But the money for subsidy, for helping our people with the cost of living, majority of it is going to the cartels. That is where the problem is. The money meant for Galana Kulalu irrigation scheme, which could have helped with our food reserves, was stolen. Kenyans know, even the fertilizer, there was a scandal. Maize, there was a scandal. Kenyans know who are responsible for those scandals. And Mr. Gachagua is also aware. And together with his captain, they may know more.
Since mother, who is actually my mother, my late mother is Mother Kerigo. Since she joined government, she has been consumed by the lies of the same government. If the Honorable Mother moved around the country, the lie she's giving here, that fertilizer is 2,500, she will be feeling sorry. If she went round to Kemunye, her hometown in Gishogo, the cost of DAP is 6,700. The cost of CAN is 5,900. The cost of 17 is 5,800. The cost of 20 is 5,900. And the cost of urea is 7,200. That was just a lie by the Minister for Agriculture. There is no fertilizer that is available for 2,500. You can walk around to any shopping center, including our hometown. These are the costs of fertilizer. And I want to say, let us stop deceit and lying to the people of Kenya on national television. When my sister here, Mother, tells the people, farmers, that fertilizer is 2,500, they start having very serious doubts about her credibility as a future deputy president. Because if she can come here on national television and give prices that are not true, when people are suffering, when people cannot buy fertilizer, her credibility is put into question.
A quick
I've
1 minute
indicated
rebuttal.
that the subsidized fertilizer, he's correct, it's not available at every retail shop, but it's available at the stores of the at the depots of National Cereals and Produce Board. It is a project of the Ministry of Agriculture. I've heard the minister talking about it, and I know of farmers who have accessed it, but I know, and I have stated, It's riddled with corruption, and it's not getting to the people. The honorable thing Mr. Gachagua could do, when you are not aware, you just say you are not aware. You just don't dismiss things as lies when they're happening. The problem with Kenya, money meant to cushion farmers, to cushion consumers, is going to corruption cartels. That is a big problem, and which, as Azimio government, will rescue Kenyans from.
All right, I'm going to give you all 1 minute each to talk to first 100 days on how you'll deal with the cost of living.
I'm aware 100% there's no fertilizer anywhere for 2,500. I'm a bottom-up man. I move around this country. It's simply not available. In the first 100 days, we want to do several things. One, bring the cost of food down, bring down the cost of living, bring fertilizer subsidies from 6,700 to 2,500.
How will you do that, sir?
We'll provide funds for that. These funds that are being proposed now for bringing the packet of unga down for 2 kg is what is supposed to go to fertilizer so that we have a long-term solution. The other one is not sustainable. It's a short-term thing for the elections. We have a plan to focus on primary health care, where community health volunteers are given an allowance to boost their morale and increase their efficiency to deal with preventive medicine as opposed to curative medicine. We have a plan to employ 116,000 teachers within the first 2 years so that we can deal with the shortage of teachers. I will explain to you. I've explained to you that we are stopping wastage in public spending. We have had a lot of projects that are not planned.
Okay.
We have legacy projects that are of sentimental values to leaders, but have no meaning to the people of Kenya.
Thank you, Honorable Gachagua. Yeah. So, your minute.
I want to first say that we in Kenya do not have a revenue problem. This year alone, we collected over 2 trillion shillings, the tax man that is. We have a problem of expenditure, non-priority expenditure. That is what we are going to curb. In relation to fertilizer, the subsidies are already in place. It's a question of ensuring they work for the people. It's ensuring that the subsidy for unga continues to the time there will be harvest. The expenditure for operation and maintenance, O&M, is over 600 billion, while salaries are at about 550. You can see operation and maintenance overshooting salaries. We will prioritize what needs to be prioritized to help Kenyans move forward. And for all the things we have said we'll do in 100 days, I have acquainted myself with the budget. The budget lines are sufficient with optimal use. Mr. Gachagua serves in the parliament that passed the budget. He doesn't seem aware that the money is in the budget, including for Baba Care.
All right, as we bring this to a close, fuel, the subsidy there expires next month, the same as the one we've seen on unga. We'll give you a minute each because Kenya Kwanza, you are proposing to set up a legal framework to ring-fence the fuel stabilization fund. IMF, World Bank says stabilization funds are inefficient and regressive. Azimio, on the other hand, you're talking about reviewing the taxes and levies on petroleum products. So different positions here. So 100 days you come into office and there's all of this mess going on and the cost of living continues to be up. In 1 minute, what is unique about this legal framework that you will do with the stabilization fund that hasn't happened so far?
We have money available in the budget. We have money that has been put for projects that are not a priority. And that is the money that you need to inject quickly before you can even look at the legal frameworks on assuming government. And that is possible. Because you look at the Ministry of Agriculture, we have some 50 billion there. That 50 billion will be available to deal with the issues of fertilizer. It will be available to deal with the issue of animal feeds that are beyond the reach of many farmers, so that we can have a quick win.
Fuel Stabilization Fund, in your manifesto, how will you fund it? The kitty is currently depleted, so you're not coming to find money. How will you fund it?
We have said that we are going to expand our tax base. Once we put the Hustlers Fund of 50 billion and we give to the people down there at the down of the pyramid, we enlarge the people who are paying tax and will have more revenue. And this is the money that will be available to the people of Kenya. Number two, we are talking about the issue of domestic borrowing. We are paying 600 million every year as interest from domestic borrowing. Once we stop that domestic borrowing, this money that is going for interest every month will be available for this one.
I'm glad he adopts my position that there's money in the budget, but that's as far as we go together. We part on how to do it. We will ensure that there is fiscal discipline so that non-priority spending is dropped and we go to priority spending. And I've given example of operation and maintenance, which is at 600 billion, while salaries are less than that. That is totally unacceptable. We will also fight corruption because money for fuel subsidies, there are a lot of cartels in the energy sector. Those places and press the areas we need to press to immediately stop the leakage. Within 100 days, we will be able to do this and much more. We have actually been looking on what we need to do on day one, because Kenyans are not going to be patient. They are already suffering. They cannot wait for commissions to be formed. They need actions.
Right.
Azimio is ready to go.
Ladies, gentlemen, our 90 minutes debate is up. It's time for our closing statements. And we begin with you, Honorable Rigathi. You have your 2 minutes starting now.
Thank you very much. I want to ask the people of Kenya to give us a chance to sort them out and put money in their pocket. We want to ask the people of Kenya to give us a chance to empower the small business people by giving them affordable credit to be able to expand their businesses. I want to ask all those people with pending bills to know that in the first 90 days, we shall float a bond for 500 billion to pay all the pending bills so that their homes are not auctioned. And by action, that 500 billion, by injecting into the economy, it will spice up the economy. I want to tell the people of Kenya, by giving us a chance, we shall look at the terms of service for the public service and the police who are suffering and who need to work when they are comfortable. I want to tell the people of Kenya to give us a chance to bring reforms to the NHIF program so that every Kenyan has an NHIF card so that when you go to hospital, you are able to be treated and go home free. I want to ask the people to know, the people of Kenya, that William Ruto and I have a plan for them. I want them to give us an opportunity to work around this economy, to spearhead the third liberation, that is to bring economic changes so that we can create wealth. We can make the people of Kenya wealthy. We can give every Kenyan an opportunity to make a living. We can give every Kenyan an opportunity to make and live a good life. We want to ask them that on the 9th of August to come and vote for change. A change to bring about economic development, a change to restore their dignity and to improve their quality of life. Thank you very much and good evening.
Thank you. Honorable Karua, your 2 minutes start now.
I want to remind Kenyans, this election is about trust. It's about looking to see which of the teams you can trust. We offer our track record. Because even when you employ a driver, you ask them for the driving license and you want to know about their record in driving. We are asking you to critically examine the teams, and if you do so dispassionately, you will come to a conclusion. I know that Azimio is the team. We will not form commissions to fight corruption. We'll go directly for the jugular of corruption cartels, apply the law across the board, and while we agree that there is need to review salaries in view of the cost of living, it's very easy to promise heaven. Without fighting corruption, without physical discipline, non-priority spending being cut out, that is not possible. But inawezekana. With an Azimio government, we are going to do this, and together with Kenyans, participating and helping us to fight corruption, we will be able to deliver our agenda to you, the 100 days agenda, and each item to reboot the economy so that Kenyans can have a decent life. While we wait to reboot the economy, for you who is unable to put food on the table, rescue is on the way. Within 3 weeks, you put an Azimio government in place, we are going to be able to send to the 2 million families that do not have any means of survival a 6,000 shilling package, which also will act as a stimulus to the economy because it gives purchasing power to 2 million families, which is like 8 million people within the country. Rescue is on the way.
All right.
We shall finally have our country back. Vote Azimio.
All right, thank you very much, Honorable Martha Karua, Honorable Rigathi Gachagua. We've come to the end of our Deputy Presidential Debate 2022. I invite you to shake hands. Thank you very much. You've all done very well. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen in the audience and our viewers following this at home, we have come to the end of our debate this evening, and our appreciation to Honorable Martha Karua of the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Party Coalition, as well as Rigathi Gachagua of the United Democratic Alliance, UDA, for honoring voters with the duty of agreeing to attend this public televised debate. We thank you.
And we thank you for watching. The final of our joint national debates will come to you on Tuesday next week, when Wahiga Maure, Raila Odinga, William Ruto, and George Wajackoyah take this very stage in the presidential candidates debate. My name is James Maro of NTV.
And I'm Sophia Wanuna of KTN News. Good night.
Goodness, what is that?
And thank you all for tuning in to the Deputy Presidential Debates just moments after the second debate has ended. Prof, direct to you. Are you impressed? Were your issues addressed?
Good to see you.
Yeah, thank you, Trevor. I think...
you guys did excellent. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it was wonderful. The debate actually did not address the sort of central issues we're looking at.
Yeah.
But on the very positive side, I think the debate spent time on what's ailing this country. And I'm very, very happy that for the first time in history, we have two parties from inside government, so that we are able to know what's actually ailing Kenya. The theft, the corruption, the inflated government project costs, the state capture, lack of ethics amongst those who are in power, families and so on. I'm actually very happy that this fight between Uhuru and Ruto is actually exposing to us the real problems that this country actually have. Because I would like to imagine if the president was on the same side as the deputy president, would have not known any of these things.
Yeah.
There would have remained accusations. But this went into all sorts of interesting details, all the way to the cases in court, to those who have captured the country, to those who are stealing money, that is being used, that should be used to subsidize Kenyan lives, to those who are doing business with the state, to those who are determining prices of what we buy, and so on. So I think there was very good texture.
Yeah.
Ideally, would have wanted to hear more about the manifestos.
Yeah.
But what I lost in terms of the details of the manifestos, I think I gained 100% by having these confessions about rampant looting and theft of our people, killing our people in the hospitals. We know now the issues in agriculture.
Yeah.
We know the reason why we cannot buy bread at the correct price. We know the cartels in the energy sector. We know all this, thanks to this wonderful debate.
Okay.
Yes, so I really congratulate the two teams for exposing to Kenyans the rot that has become our country and the incompetence of those who are in power, who are ruling us now. Thank you.
All right. Nerima, you wanted to hear the how of the manifestos. Did you get your answers?
Not very directly. Unfortunately, a lot of the questions that I wanted answered, the meat of the conversation was coming toward the last 20 minutes of the debate. So I did hear in terms of, Honorable Karua talking about the 2 million people who will be supported with the 6,000 shillings with the social welfare, touched on Babacare. And I did hear Honorable Rigathi talking about the hustler fee that easy.
Nerima, hold on 1 second. Let's cross over to Martha Karua, who's just finished the debate.
Mtazamaji popote pale ulipo, kilicho na mwanzo kosi mwisho na hatimaye mdahalo umetamatika. Na hapa nipo na Bi Martha. Bi Martha, shukrani za dhati kwa kutenga muda wako na kujiunga nasi. Ningependa kujua hisia zako ni zipi? Mdahalo umekwenda vipi? Je, umeafikia matarajio yako?
Nafikiria nimeafikia, umeenda vyema. Tumedebate bila balaa yoyote, tumeendelea vyema.
Shukrani sana na nakutakia kila laheri na kwa heri. Na mwenzangu Nimrod Tabu bila shaka atakuwa anajiunga nasi baada muda usiokuwa mrefu akizungumza na mgombea mwenza wa UDA Rigathi Gachagua, na atakuwa anatueleza je, hisia zake ni zipi, na je amefikia matarajio yake, je ameweza kuwashawishi wa Kenya kumpigia kura ifikapo Agosti 9. Nimrod, kama unanipata, naam, labda tu tujiongea upande huu.
Naam, asante sana. Bila shaka ni mdahalo ambao umekamilika. Tumezungumza na mgombea mwenza wa kwanza. Wacha tuzungumze na Mheshimiwa Rigathi Gachagua. Mheshimiwa Rigathi Gachagua, dakika zilikuwa ni saa lizima na dakika 30. Unajihisi namna gani baada ya mdahalo huu?
Nimefurahi. Ilikuwa mazungumzo tumepata kuongelesha wa Kenya, lakini sijari kwa sababu tulitaka tupewe nafasi kuongea juu ya maneno na masuala ambayo yanahusu wa Kenya, ya uchumi. Tungetaka tuongee mambo ya afya, hatukupata nafasi. Mambo ya housing, hatukupata nafasi. Tulitaka tuongee mambo ya public debt, hatukupata nafasi. Tulikuwa tumeambiwa hayo maswali yote yataulizwa, lakini tumekaa sana kwa maswali moja mbili, lakini yale maneno ambayo yanahusu wa Kenya, hasa bei, gharama ya maisha, hatukupata nafasi ya kujadiliana.
Natumai kwa wametoa fursa hii kwamba mdahalo mwingine ambao utakuwa juma lijalo pengine nafasi hiyo itatokea, lakini pengine kwa kifupi, kwa wale ambao hawajakata shauri jinsi watakavyopiga kura tarehe 9 Agosti, je, unahisi kwamba umewafikia? Na
nafikiri Wakenya wengi sana wameweza kunisikiza kinaga ubaga, na nimepata nafasi nzuri kueleza hao mpango wetu ya kwamba katika Kenya Kwanza tunaweka sana maanani mabadiliko ya kiuchumi, tukilinganisha na wale wengine ambaye wanataka mabadiliko ya katiba. Na Wakenya nikiwasikiza pahali pote nitatembea katika Jamhuri la Kenya, masuala ya kiuchumi ndio yanatatiza Wakenya na ndio wanataka suluhisho. Nimeweza kuelezea, lakini kwa kifupi kama ningepata nafasi ya kutosha, tuko na mpango mzuri sana ambaye tungepata nafasi ya kueleza wa Kenya, lakini hakuna shida kwa sababu tunaendelea na mikutano. Kesho nitakuwa Murang'a, niko na mikutano 7. Kesho kutwa nitakuwa pande ya Nyandarua. Tutaendelea kueleza wa Kenya na tutapata nafasi ya kukutana na hawa na kueleza yale ambaye tumewapangia.
Asante sana mheshimiwa, pamoja na familia yako na wote mliokuja. Asanteni sana kwa kuwa pamoja nasi. Mheshimiwa Rigathi huyo pamoja na wale waliokuwa wakimsindikiza baada ya kuhudhuria mdahalo huu. Trevor Mbija, najua bado Ukeli na wageni wengi tu ambao wanataka kuzungumza nao wachanganuzi kuendelea na masuala yaliokuwa yakijadiliwa ukumbini. Trevor.
Asante sana Nimrod Tabu, lakini kwa sasa tupitie kwa Ken Mijungu na Michelle Ngele mwanzo. Ken?
Thank you so much, Trevor. Indeed, about 5 hours and 45 minutes already gone. I mean, 4 candidates here tonight. A very exciting debate to help Kenyans just understand, Michelle, what exactly are they choosing from? What ideologies? What is the agenda of these candidates to them?
Absolutely, and this debate happening as Kenya enters the home stretch of the 22 electoral season. All of them getting a chance to tell Kenyans, well, they are fit for the country's second most powerful job. And the stakes are high, Ken. 22.1 million registered voters to vote in August, which is the highest in Kenya's electoral history.
Ever. And this, of course, is a consequential election. It's a transition election from President Uhuru Kenyatta to the possibility, and that possibility, Michelle, will be made on the ballot on the 9th of August. But this is not the last. Next week on Tuesday, same place, same time, we'll have another debate with now the presidential candidates. Also, 2 debates. Today also there were 2 debates. My name is Ken Mijungu from KTN.
My name is Michelle Ngele Odhiambo from K24 TV. Let's take you back to Trevor Ombija.
Thank you very much, Michelle and Ken. Now, I panelists have 5 minutes maximum. Rima, 1 minute, finish your thoughts on your reactions on whether you are satisfied with the debate.
I think that we could have had more meat in the debate, so not very satisfied.
Yeah.
I feel a lot of content came toward the end.
Okay. Dr. Baraza?
I concur with Nerima. I think the bigger part of the debate didn't focus on the issues that we would have wanted them to focus on. A bit of electioneering there, a bit of propaganda came in quite a bit, but towards the end is when we had a few issues addressed.
Okay.
Probably it was the structure of the interviewing, I don't know. Okay. But we didn't address the real issues that we have wanted addressed.
Asaska?
Yes, Trevor. Unfortunately, a lot of time was wasted on rumors and allegations instead of focusing on the roles of the deputy president as espoused in our constitution, and as well as real issues that are facing Kenyans, particularly looking at the economically feasible solutions that are politically tenable. I feel like I'm a little bit disappointed in that. But at the end, for the last about maybe half an hour, 20 to half an hour, we've seen both candidates coming out, explaining their manifesto. And I've seen Honorable Martha Karua really hitting hard on the most impressive commitments on healthcare, on the social agenda for the vulnerable people. And what I missed out a lot from Azimio is if Martha could have focused more on the debt management in Kenya, because their manifesto covered that very well, but apparently that did not come up in today's debate. And on the side of Honorable Gachagua, I think he did well explaining the bottom-up economic model, mentioned the 50 billion Hustler Fund, and also generally giving us a picture on how the economy of this country used to work before, and hopefully they'll keep it to their word, keep it to their manifesto. And I think overall it's a good debate, but I wish next time, I hope that they will focus more on key issues that affect the Kenyan population.
Wanjiru, your quick reactions as we close?
I think I concur. But maybe I'd like to start with the tone. You know, if at the outset, Honorable Gachagua obviously kept saying no sideshows, until I wondered, what's a sideshow? But then, of course, as the conversation went on, he began to fire his salvos, and he fired them, you know, in a very, you know, going almost into those personal questions. Some are genuine questions on the minds of Kenyans. But Honorable Karua kept very calm. And at first, I wasn't sure her strategy would pay off. But in the fullness of the debate, I felt it did. She didn't rise to the bait and really stuck to the issues around corruption. And I think she was able to bring out very well that this state capture and corruption are one and the same thing. This dichotomy that's being created, because at some point Gachagua was almost saying they are going to fight state capture, but not corruption. You know, it didn't come out directly, but almost going that way. She just said it's the same thing. I liked her definition about cartels. They have made a promise that if they come into power, they will fight all the cartels. She, of course, struggled a bit because of the role of the president in the party.
Okay.
She made an explanation, but at the end of the day, I think the decision falls on Kenyans, and Karua was very keen to stress the issue of track record.
Okay.
So I think it was a good debate, but we should have had more time spent on the economy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for making time this evening. Professor Alfred Omenya, urban planning expert, and earlier on, Professor Gituro was with us. Nerima Wako, Executive Director, Siasa Place. Dr. Nancy Baraza, former Deputy Chief Justice, Asante Sana. Asas Kalabarakwe, Public Policy Expert. Wanjiru Gikonyo, Executive Director, TISA, which is the Institute of Social Accountability. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for staying with the Deputy Presidential Debates. Next week, we go into the presidential debates. You can hear the joys of live TV. This is happening in real time. The 600 capacity auditorium was filled to the brim, and those are just the audience coming out. On behalf of the entire media team that made this possible, we thank you for watching. And now we go back to normal programming. My name is Trevor Ombija from Citizen TV and Ramogi TV. Bye for now.
KTN News. Get the whole story. You looking for employment and are tired of sending job applications without any response? Gone with no response? Tarmacking is now a thing of the past thanks to Skiza. Dial *811 *1 *21 hash and subscribe to a ringback tune that reflects your qualifications only for 1.5 bob a day. And your callers will know your credentials and send you opportunities they come across. Set the tone with Skiza.
Grace in and away goes Alvin Marube, and he gets there. Greatest of all time. Lily Barkwin is the toast of National Stadium in Singapore. Samuel Onyango huyo.
Kwa ushindi nashukuru wachezaji, tunacheza vibaya sana.
Ronaldo shows
Win big on Zilizala Viwanjani. Simply buy a ticket at only 100 bob through paybill number 837060 with your names as the account number and stand a chance to win a jersey and 10,000 shillings. Zilizala Viwanjani. You always win. Portal Pharmacy will be at the Beauty Expo from 29th to 31st July 2022 at the Sarit Center from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Portal Pharmacy has a wide range of health and beauty products. These include skincare, baby care, oral care, first aid, and men's care. Join the Standard Group Beauty Expo and expand your market share, meet new buyers, launch or promote your latest products and services, and enjoy countless networking opportunities. To participate, call 0721 668 447 or email ellabonga@standardmedia.co.ke.
There are so many sources of information when it comes to business news. But where do you go when you want accurate?
The market is very, very strong and resilient.
Informative.
It has been a good run for the banks.
And authoritative content.
We've been thinking about how we emerge stronger.
And who does a better job to help you understand the numbers behind me so that you're better informed in your decisions than our top-notch analysts?
They're actually targeting a market which is already taxable.
We need to invest more than we consume.
It would mean a very good year for investors.
Every Wednesday, 8 p.m.
Join me on the Trading Bell.
I'll be on the Trading Bell Show. Trading Bell Show.
On the Trading Bell.
This is KTN News.
This is not a stampede, but a moment of mass thirst. The dull sound of the generator, lulling and lazy, a monotonous hum that breaks the silence of this remote area. But it is music to the large ears of these huge mammals, known for picking vibrations from miles. To the rest of the animals, it is time to give way for the jumbos to take their positions at the water spot. This is a jungle where survival is for the fittest. African elephants. They are characterized by their long trunks, columnar legs, and huge heads with flat ears and temporal glands. Like a graceful dance, they flap their ears to cool their bodies. After all, The weather is soaringly hot today, as always. This spectacle is set on Selenkei Conservancy. It is located in Kajiado County and boasts of more than 200 elephants. Other small animals do exist here too. Wildlife population has been on the rise due to the availability of water and pasture, but over the years, water levels have reduced to worrying proportions. Vegetation is no longer as green and succulent as before, despite this being a semi-arid region. Nature is on revenge, and the unfolding situation is so fast that animals are not spared. They know it and are clearly feeling it. No wonder they are now turning to humans for survival in a symbiotic relationship that is breaking the natural barriers slowly and surely. Selenkei Conservancy sits on this 200,000 acres of land owned by the local Maasai community. However, the land has been leased to game watchers and Porini camps, which has turned it into a unique model of business conservation as part of climate action efforts. This has enabled the local community to stem off the ravaging effects of climate change while ensuring survival of wildlife and themselves. Years of humanity's affront on the environment has turned nature into an angry mother keen on revenge. Currently, most parts of Kenya and Eastern Africa are grappling with drought and food shortages. The global temperature is now at 14.3 degrees Celsius on average, compared to about 13.7 degrees Celsius a century ago. The average sea level has also spiked between 10 and 20 centimeters over the same period. Emission of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere is largely blamed for this catastrophic state of affairs. Here in Kenya, some events have been key indicators of a changing weather pattern. In February 2017, the country witnessed a drought with 3.4 million Kenyans facing food challenges. 500,000 others did not have access to water. The ongoing drought has hit northern counties hard. A parade of carcasses of livestock paint a picture of a region in the stare of death. Wildlife has not been spared. The brunt of the scorching sand and dry river beds and taps underline the sad tale of a region sighing under unforgiving famine. Glaciers on mountains are decreasing at an alarming rate. Projections indicate that in the next 30 years, we might not have much to see. In fact, some experts have predicted that glaciers on Mount Kenya and Mount Kilimanjaro might be depleted by the year 2030. That is not very far from now. There is loss of biodiversity among wildlife, together with changes in species distribution. Reduced population sizes and extinction of some species is also being noticed. A report from the National Climate Change Action Plan 2018-2022 says seasons for long rains have become shorter and drier, while short rains are now longer and wetter, sometimes with devastating floods. On the other hand, droughts have become longer and more intense and tend to eat into the traditional rain seasons. For wildlife, climate change is a threat to their reproductive cycles. It also limits their ability to hunt, migrate, and their general survival. It also means increased health risks from disease, pests, and new predators. Research shows that natural climate solutions such as conservation of forests, wetlands, and grasslands can provide up to 37% of the mitigations needed by 2030 to keep global temperature rise below 2 degrees Celsius. This is what is happening here.
This conservancy that we're game driving in now is actually among the pioneering conservancies in Kenya. And our founder, Jake Greaves Cook, came here over 25 years ago, engaged with the community members. And this was an area a long time ago that traditionally was famous for having very big elephants. It was actually an area for hunting a long time ago. But the community had not seen benefits from the elephants. So what they did is they chased them away or killed them. So when Jake came here, elephants had not been seen in over 20 years. The community getting really no benefit from wildlife. But he engaged with them. He got them to see that they have a valuable resource, which is the habitat and the wildlife that's found here. And Jake came, engaged with them, partnered with them, set up a small eco camp. And even 25 years ago, our camp was 100% solar. And now we're all talking about solar power, but 25 years ago, our camps were 100% solar.
In this region, rain is scarce. Boreholes are key for the survival of life for locals and their livestock, wildlife too. This land, which belongs to the community, was subdivided and a portion of it leased to Game Watchers Safaris and Porini Camps Company. It now runs Porini Amboseli Camps inside Selenke Conservancy, which borders Amboseli National Park.
This area is semi-arid areas and we do not have any springs of water, any natural source of water here. But the Conservancy has actually drilled 3 boreholes in the Conservancy to actually be able to have enough water for the wildlife all the year round. And so from that time that we started with 1 borehole and the second and the third one, the number of wildlife has actually increased a lot. And this is especially when you look at things like elephants, numbers has actually increased since the year 2005 from when we first saw our 2 elephants arriving here. And now we are actually, we could say we have about 300 elephants that stay here in this area.
At the entrance to the camp lies one water pan where different animals take their time to visit and quench their thirst. Some lucky night hunters that prefer their own company, like cheetahs and leopards, together with hyenas, also pay a visit at their leisure and pleasure. The need for water can be seen across other boreholes within the camp. In the morning, giraffes and zebras take time to drink to their fill, but at the sight of elephants and predators like lions, often you'll see them running for their dear life.
I think here in Selenke Conservancy, we're also seeing a big impact from that. You know, as a company, our focus is actually using small-scale tourism to protect habitat in partnership with communities. However, with climate change, we're seeing that the rains are more erratic, also with other human interactions, for example, like overgrazing.
Even with the milestones, the threat to conservation comes from far and not so far.
One of the big challenges here is sand harvesting, which is all going to build Nairobi.
This river acts as a border between the community and the camp. Its water has been replaced by the sand that lies open to unscrupulous dealers who make a kill by selling it to the highest bidders. Effects of their action often expose locals to the bigger danger of floods.
We have not been receiving rains as it used to be. And also, surprisingly, you could also get rains when you don't really expect. And when that happens, you're not prepared. And you get to have a lot of floods coming down and problems of that nature. And also, if you don't get rains, then there is a problem because, grass tends to dry very fast, trees the same thing. And that means no grass for animals, no even tree cover for the animals. And that's a problem. That's a problem that we have, we are actually experiencing due to this climate change.
Under this model, the community benefits from leasing land. Wildlife gets a comfortable dwelling place that is undisturbed and serene. The animals have also adapted to a new lifestyle of understanding their specific watering points where they troop at specific and safe times. This ultimately contributes to conservation and protection of habitat that improves the ecosystem. Animals like elephants are known for creating and maintaining their own ecosystems. In fact, many plants and animal species are dependent on elephants to survive because they make their homes in elephant-created ecosystems as well. The National Climate Change Action Plan of 2018-2022 is a 5-year plan that helps Kenya to adapt to climate change and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Agriculture accounts for the highest greenhouse gas emissions, with activities like soil cultivation and methane emission from livestock making about 40% of the emissions in Kenya. The energy sector comes in second due to activities of burning of fossil fuels. As the world grapples with COVID-19 pandemic, nature must have celebrated the lockdowns. Most animal and plant species thrive during the tough restrictions imposed in most countries, between 2019 and 2020.
One thing that COVID has done with all the negative parts, one of the positives out of it is that the world for the first time has really realized the importance of our habitat, of biodiversity, and also of carbon. We hear about global warming, and we know that there's a lot of carbon that's being released into the atmosphere from fossil fuels, from vehicles, from airlines, from coal, etc. And so many of these companies and countries are actually making commitments that the governments are making, they have to make, or the consumers are forcing companies to make commitments. And the only way that they can continue with their business and operations is they actually have to buy what's called carbon credits.
According to the World Meteorological Organization, 2020 ranked as the third warmest year ever recorded in Africa. Estimates suggest the temperature could rise by up to 2.5 degrees Celsius by 2050.
First of all, we have to protect the environment itself, making sure that we create awareness to the community. We go out there and we tell them the importance of trees, why they should not cut trees, why they should not overgraze in an area, and why they should leave this area, as much as possible natural as it is. And so that's one thing that we are actually trying to, create this awareness in the community, but also creating awareness.
The community too can attest the times are changing and the climate is harsh, making it a tough call to live day by day. This is a cultural center that was once lively and full of women and children. They will receive visitors from the camp and educate them about the Maasai culture. Today, only a handful of them remain. The rest have since moved to other areas in search of food and water. Local men now have a new task. They usually leave at dawn to look for water for their livestock and families. Thomas Kasaine is the village elder. He says the harsh weather makes it difficult to practice farming. They instead rely on wildlife and livestock farming. Times are changing.
Climate change we experience by the hotness, because it's becoming very hot, more than how we usually knew. And also the rainbow, the calendar has also changed, because it used to be raining by now. We'll be having some green by November. But due to this, we don't know whether climate change but we don't know whether it's God change, but it has really affected us. Also, the water table in our boreholes has gone down, in our wells has gone down, and the time for livestock to survive has gone more than 1 month.
The ecosystem set up at Porini Amboseli camp has seen the company win various awards like the 2019 Africa's Responsible Tourism Award due to their commitment to conservation and working with local communities.
If there is no water, there is conflict, because if you see now the borehole, the elephants also come to look for water. The other wildlife come to, and then they bring competition, and then conflict come in, where there will be conflict between human and wildlife. So there's a big problem if there's not enough water at the moment. And also at night, the elephants tend to break all the boreholes around.
For us as Kenyans, we need more and more of our youth to actually be looking at conservation and habitat as a real opportunity for them to have jobs and to be able to make a future. And I think when we look at Kenya with our big focus on technology, we see a lot of startups here. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities, businesses that are going to come out of wildlife, that are going to come out of protecting habitat. One of them that I mentioned was carbon, the other is biodiversity credits, and there's a lot of things that haven't been created now. In fact, with the biodiversity credits, we're looking at putting in acoustic devices, which measures the sounds of everything. Every bird has a different sound, every insect has a different sound.
As temperature rises, countries are taking measures to ensure that the agreed threshold of 1.5 degrees above pre-industrial levels is not surpassed. But achieving this milestone is still a mirage. The various climate change conferences held in various modern, elegant and sophisticated cities have been more on promises but less on action. The The recent COP26 summit was not different. Kenya led Africa in pushing for global reforms on climate change. Back home, the nation facing a lack of political goodwill that has led to failed implementation of environment protection policies and laws. After all, the world is struggling within the so-called Code Red situation for humanity.
Protecting and restoring habitats ensures that nature continues to absorb excess carbon in the atmosphere. This ultimately contributes to habitable environment for all living things. Saad Hassan in Porini Amboseli Camp, Kajiado County.
Are you ready for Nairobi's biggest sporting event? The Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon is back again this year. Get your running shoes ready and register for the physical race on 30th October at Uhuru Gardens or the virtual race from 23rd to 30th October from your preferred location. Join us and let's run as one to support our Future Makers initiative, which is geared to help young people, especially girls and people with disability, to learn, earn and grow. Register at www.nairobimarathon.com. Early bird discount of 2,000 Kenya shillings. Offer valid till 10th October. Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon.
Well, you made me so proud today. I'll never forget the day you got accepted. Remember how you just jumped in right away and gave it everything? It was so inspiring, especially for your little brother. And now I can watch him follow his dreams.
Is this a deal? Hello, yes it is. I'm bringing you your 250,000 Kenya shillings.
Thank you.
Yes.
Welcome.
How did you win 250?
They called me on Saturday night.
Deal. Box number 2, and you are the proud winner of 250,000 shillings.
I could not believe it.
Nice.
Itanisaidia sana kwa school fees, vile uchumi imepanda, it just helps me with everything. Lotto is genuine, it works, and keep playing. Keep playing. If you're not playing, get into it, play. It is real. Imarisha Grau
na Lotto.
Changamka cheza Lotto.
Over 18s only. Gaming can be addictive. Play responsibly.
Check it. Let's talk about banking. Or let's talk about dreams and goals. Your dreams, your goals.
If you're like Louise, you value doing biz with ease. Or maybe you're like Dan, a family man with a plan. At Diamond Trust Bank, it starts with one dream, one goal, one deposit, and one transaction. Pamoja, let's make it happen. So don't just bank with us, bank on us.
Are you ready for Nairobi's biggest sporting event? The Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon is back again this year. Get your running shoes ready and register for the physical race on 30th October at Uhuru Gardens or the virtual race from 23rd to 30th October from your preferred location. Join us and let's run as one to support our Future Makers initiative, which is geared to help young people, especially girls and people with disability, to learn, earn and grow. Register at www.nairobimarathon.com. Early bird discount of 2,000 Kenya shillings. Offer valid till 10th October. Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon.
MC Jesse.
It's me, KRG the Don.
I am Terry Anchibet. I'm Marin Clara.
I'm James Smart.
I'm Faith Josephs.
Find me on Scooper for all your election updates and analysis.
Find me on Scooper. Let's catch a vibe.
Find me for more fashion, beauty, and lifestyle stories every day.
Find me on Scooper for more girl power.
Find me for fashion and funny videos every day.
Find me on Scooper for more humor and funny stories every day.
Download Scooper News. See a bigger world.
Since the launch of Jambo Jet's first ever low-cost cargo and passenger direct flights from Nairobi to Goma, the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo is turning into a business hub. My crew and I embarked on a journey to explore Congo's massive natural wealth and biodiversity, and how entrepreneurs in the tiny city of North Kivu province are turning opportunities into a multi-million-dollar economy. At first, it is important to note that getting to Congo you must have a passport, COVID-19 vaccination document, and a yellow fever vaccination card, not forgetting to arm yourself with a visa fee of $15 for residents and $50 for non-residents.
And now with things coupling up like the visa-free travel, it will be much easier because all you need to do, like most Kenyans don't know, you just need to lift your passport, book a flight, and you're in Goma for the weekend. And all you need to do is $50 and you've gotten your visa. Nobody's going to question you. Even Congolese arriving is as easy, contrary to popular opinion, unless it is a flagged out individual. Getting a visa to Kenya and vice versa is easy peasy.
Hours airborne, our plane finally touches down at Goma International Airport. And we could smell the fresh air of the city as the Lake Kivu water tides hit the shore.
Welcome to Goma. We're here to tell the story how Goma is turning into an economic hub, Eastern Africa.
Goma, a bustling city.
Hii vazi mimi navala unaweza ingia nao kwenye sherehe.
Je suis bien habillé.
The locals call it the city that never sleeps, sitting on the northern shore of Lake Kivu.
Na venye bako na ma t-shirt ajikaze bakwe nazi.
Goma is not an ordinary tourism destination. The area is blazed with pristine wilderness, landscapes and wildlife. The location of the city outside the Virunga National Park has made it a tourism hub in Eastern Africa.
Before, people thought Goma was all about guns and rebels and whatnot, but really, as we've tried to show and people have seen before, it's really a very beautiful place with a rich sense of culture, very beautiful places. Just behind me, I don't know whether you can see, it's a very beautiful lake, that is Lake Kivu. So people have been coming. It raised a lot of curiosity, and we've had people coming, booking directly to Serena, and it really is, and there is huge potential to grow this place as a tourism potential. For those people who may have an opportunity to go even outside the city, Virunga National Park has animals which you can never see anywhere in the world. For example, the okapi, it's only found here. So that's a very huge potential to grow the domestic market in this particular place.
The owners of business and the commercial elites in this region want this region to thrive. So right now we are at the cusp of this place transforming. Because once the peace agreements goes through and the guns are totally silenced, it might be too late to come in. Because by that time, everybody will be wanting to come in.
When in Goma, you either use Swahili or Lingala. French is used in schools across the DRC, but Lingala and Swahili in particular are important for basic communication with the locals and when buying things in the streets.
Kiswahili cha huku si kigumu vile, kwa sababu itabidi tu uulize mwenzako anasema nini, anamaanisha nini. Akisha kueleza, unaendelea nacho. Sasa uzuri wa Kiswahili cha hapa kitakusaidia pia kujua Kifaransa, kwa sababu wanakichanganya na Kifaransa. Sasa utakuwa unasoma, ukielewa Kiswahili chao, unasoma Kiingereza, Kifaransa kwa muda mmoja. Kuuza sasa, kwa mfano nyumbani, kuuzisha ni kama tuseme ndio, kuuza ni kununua, kuuzisha ni kumuuzia mtu, kuuzisha sasa ni kununua. There are opportunities for English teachers in Kenya who don't have opportunities there to come and teach in DRC, because DRC also, like the rest of the world, is turning more Anglophone. You have more desire for people to learn English.
Since the year 2021, Jambojet, a subsidiary carrier of Kenya Airways, has made access to the city of Goma easy and affordable.
The main service we offer into this particular city is passenger services, where we fly 3 times a week. The second service we offer is cargo. We have capacity of 1.2 tons on the belly of our aircrafts and additional 650 kgs on the seat packs.
With the rising demand for cargo on the route, between January and June 2022, Jambojet made sales worth 11 million out of 80% of 35 tons of cargo transported between Nairobi and Goma. This confirms how the lucrative cargo business greatly supports the economies of both countries.
And I can attribute the difference to the fact that there is very little manufacturing going on in this place. So that really limits the amount of cargo they're able to export outside, which also provides an opportunity for people here or people outside to come and do some value addition, especially in agriculture. If there was some little value addition, some little manufacturing in agriculture, it can really improve the amount of cargo that is being exported outward.
John Mwanzia, a retired Kenya Major General, has built himself a life out of rubble. Mwanzia has backed Goma's reputation as dangerous, restive backwater, and focused on building a business empire in Eastern DRC.
Before you start those kind of missions, to talk with the local government, particularly within the province, so to be able to know what what papers you require to have, the licenses. When I was here, I realized the medical facilities here were very low standard. So I started thinking of maybe doing something after I retire. I come here, open some good hospitals, very good qualities, so that we can be able to save lives also here. So that's how I started.
Today, a top entrepreneur of thriving health service business, Mwanzia is aggressive in expanding business to several provinces of DRC, making him one of the leading businessmen in the region.
I started with one hospital at Bukavu, and from there, right now I've got 6 hospitals and 2 medical clinics. And we are still moving forward. Within these provinces, there are so many NGOs and international NGOs. So we have even mining companies. So we have a lot of contracts with these companies, the mining companies, the NGOs, and the UN missions. So those ones have really given us a lot of contracts.
One of the things that the government is working towards is tapping into hinterlands like DRC and get some of the best people to work with DRC and into Kenya and create wealth that can be invested in research and development so that in future you are able to compete with the rest of the world.
Despite a host of risks, Mwanzia's medical service have become a hit in the town across provinces with rising demand that keeps Mwanzia and his staff on the move 24 hours a day.
I've got several Kenyan guys. They're just about 11, and I've got about 300 Congolese. So, and I'm still adding some more staff members. Even before end of this year, I'm opening another 2 medical facilities. One at Kalemi, another place called Shabunda. So there will be 2 more hospitals before end of December.
Then, there are bold and daring business women like Wendy Balezi, who have found success by targeting more mass market demography.
Nilifanya biashara sababu nilikuwa napenda sana kufanya business. Na ndio maana nataka i grow up na iendelee kukomana na pigana tu pole pole tuone kama itafikia wapi.
Born and raised in the volatile region of DRC, Balezi started her fashion business 5 years ago by tinkering with small batches of kitenge lovers. The former student of economics slowly scaled up her operations, expanding her distribution networks.
From now, it's not only in Goma, Ata Bukavu, Rwanda. I have some friends from Kenya, Kampala, wakiona ma publication zangu wanalomba na watumia.
Today, she exports approximately 10 tons of her fabric each month to Kenya, Rwanda, Tanzania, and Uganda. According to Wendy, her many loyal customers have boosted her business operation. Wendy and Mwanzia confirms that the 2 hours direct jumbo jet flight between Nairobi and Goma has eased business operations.
Direct flight to jumbo jet, Goma, Nairobi, inasaidia kufikisha mzigo haraka. Haiko tena kusema utaenda utie mzigo mubais alafu iende ipite Rwanda, ipite kule inachelewa, banashusha, inapotea. Unaona, lakini ukitia mzigo kwa jumbo jet inafika directly. Unajua kitu kyako kiko safe kabisa.
Initially we used to use Rwanda Air passing through Kigali, taking almost a whole day to get to Nairobi because we had to change flights, But here, we normally leave from here to Nairobi. We take less than 2 hours, which is very convenient. And they also have cargo services, and that one is assisting a lot. And we also buy medicines from Nairobi. We buy medical equipment from Nairobi. So we normally use jumbo jet, which is very convenient.
Aside from business, it is time for my crew to dive into fresh Congolese cuisines.
Aka nyinyi wawili kama hivyo, yeye anataka ya mafuta.
Ya mafuta na supu kidogo.
Lollipop na plantain.
Kuna mtu hapa akulangi pork? Mtokongo. Mimi nilete pork chips.
Goma has it in plenty. feasting on sambaza, a special diet of spiced roasted tilapia served with lemon. If you wanted to find out how the fish caught in Lake Kivu tastes, the best place to get grilled fish is at Serena Goma Hotel.
And there's a lot to see when you're in Goma. At the Serena, you are able to take advantage of the lakeside tours. There's a lot of special packages for the tourists who are going to be visiting the Goma Serena Hotel. There is the city tour. You get to see what Goma has to offer. There is a lot of potential in tourism, the gorillas at the Virunga National Park. So there's a lot to witness when you're in Goma.
The economic impact of industrialization in Goma is more visible with the new hotels and restaurants coming up every day. Goma, once a wounded city, is now reviving its image and expanding the business and investment spectrum in eastern DRC. The region's elusive peace is creating a major base of business operations, creating hundreds of jobs both for local and foreigners. Business between DRC and Kenya is getting a lucrative angle as Eastern DRC now gets access to the Mombasa port, while business people can now fly more often by jumbo jet without wasting time in transit.
People in Congo, whenever they think about holiday, they usually think about going to Dubai and doing shopping. So we decided to take it upon ourselves to try and educate them about the Kenyan coast and the kind of things they can do, the kind of things they can relax. So we went and looked for partners in the various destinations we fly to. Like in Mombasa, we have Voyager Beach Resort, Serena Hotel, and City Blue Hotel. In Ukunda, we have Swahili Beach, and in Malindi we have Sandys. So we try to make a full package for them so that when they come to Nairobi, they have their transfers to all those places. They're able to visit Masai Mara. They're able to get all these special features about these different cities by just paying one package. What we're doing, we're removing the stress from them of having to go and look for someone to organize everything for them. It has done wonders for us because it builds on our Goma market as well as our coastal markets as well.
The lingering question remains, will the DRC joining the East African community speed up economic growth in the region?
Now the Democratic Republic of the Congo has joined the East African community, as you are aware, since April this year. And the processes have just been finalized, and now Kenyans will be able to travel in Congo without the visa, which has been a real, impediment to many people not opting to fly into Goma as opposed to other ESC state members.
Kenya is looking to leverage on the DRC market by tapping into the opportunities, particularly in the ICT, education, telecommunication, retail, and hospitality sectors. Before we wave a goodbye to Goma, we head to explore the city's nightlife.
KTN News. Get the whole story. Portal Pharmacy will be at the Beauty Expo from 29th to 31st July 2022 at the Sarit Center from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Portal Pharmacy has a wide range of health and beauty products. These include skincare, baby care, oral care, first aid, and men's care. Join the Standard Group Beauty Expo and expand your market share, meet new buyers, launch or promote your latest products and services, and enjoy countless networking opportunities. To participate, call 0721 668 447 or email ellabonga@standardmedia.co.ke.
MC Jesse.
It's me, KRG the Don.
I am Terry Anchebet. I'm Marin Clara.
I'm James Smart.
I'm Faith Josephs.
Find me on Scooper for all your election updates and analysis.
Find me on Scooper. Let's catch a vibe.
Find me for more fashion, beauty, and lifestyle stories every day.
Find me on Scooper for more girl power.
Find me for fashion and funny videos every day.
Find me on Scooper for more humor and funny stories every day.
Download Scooper News. See a bigger world.
You made me so proud today. I'll never forget the day you got accepted. Remember how you just jumped in right away and gave it everything? It was so inspiring, especially for your little brother. And now I can watch him follow his dreams.
Leo tuna mshindi alishindia pesa 250,000 Kenya shillings because of a lotto. Na ulicheza lotto mara ngapi?
Let me say over 30 times or more. Yeah, sometimes nilikuwa ninacheza nakufa roho na achana nayo, wakati mwingine naamka nacheza.
250,000 si pesa kidogo. Zitaboresha maisha yako aje?
First of all, unajua mtu kulingana na economy iko tumadeni twingi. Kwanza nimaliza tumadeni, then after